All right, guys, let's get this going here. Let me adjust the old computer screen and we'll go into share. And then we will present. Oh, wow, guys, we are here with week 7. This is the final week. And this is the week of now what? We've learned a lot of basic things. Introduction to family prayer. Hopefully your prayer lives are getting better. I really pray that you guys can utilize some of this information, some of this tips, tricks, whatever you want to call it, to get to a place where prayer is becoming at least a little more regular. Or if you're not praying at all, now you guys are finding little ways to pray. This is the now what week. This is where I let you guys go, but will give you the information on where to find wonderful things, where to know where you're getting good, solid information, and even where to help and support companies that are Catholic run. Because that's important. We can all throw our money at Amazon, but after a while, the Amazons become so big that these little companies, some of them will disappear. And so you just want to help people that are helping us with our faith. Granted, I am not in any way bashing Amazon. I buy from there all the time. But when I buy Catholic stuff, I usually try to find a Catholic store. That's just my preference. Of course, you can go to Amazon for all this. Another fun thing that I will let you guys know is at the end of this video, I will be posting a salad. We'll use the word salad of links in the YouTube description box where you can buy every single thing I throw in here tonight. And then the other big thing I'm going to ask of you guys is we are concluding tonight. This is the end of this series. And talking with some people over at St. Pius, the 10th parish, we're wondering if you guys want more of something else. Doing it week to week is difficult. But if you want something more week to week, or if there's a topic that you'd like me to do a one time of, throw it in the comments, call the parish office. Just let me know. And I will do everything I can reasonably with my level of knowledge and my ability to make it happen. That's the comments, use the comments and go, hey, Sean, you talked about Mary that one time, but nothing else about Mary. What's up with her? Or you talked about the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? Or, I talked about, I use the word consecration and you're like, what the heck is a consecration? Well, this is all stuff that I can't cover tonight, but if you want to learn more, hit me in the comments and I'll drop some information. I mean, obviously you can Google it and YouTube it, and you'll probably get some really good information that way, but I can do it too. Whatever you need or want from me, let me know. So now let's get started. So this week, is this book Catholic? This is going to be a little bit book heavy. I'm a big believer in reading. I love reading. My family loves reading and education through reading. Don't worry if you're not a reader. We're going to cover podcast. If you're not familiar with the podcast, it's essentially a radio program that you can get through your phone for free through a podcast app. If you're Android, you already have the app. It's Android Podcasts. If you're Apple, you have an app there. I'm not familiar with Apple, but I believe it's Apple Play or Apple Store or iTunes Store. Or I can't keep up with all the changes all these companies make. So I apologize for my ignorance there, but I do know that no matter what brand phone you have, you can have a podcast. You can also listen to a podcast on your computer by going to the podcast's website. In a lot of ways, the people that produce these podcasts prefer you to do it that way. So that way, when you click through their website, you see ads. And ads for these small companies or these small podcasts are not necessarily a bad thing. That's how they feed their family, is they give you this information for free through a podcast. You listen to it. You might hear a commercial or two. I was born in the 80s. Commercial. Now we can pause things. So we're in a whole different world. So podcasts, further digs. YouTube is a great source for Catholic information. So what are some web pages I can trust if you're looking just to buy a Catholic gift, or if you're looking to get some good Catholic information? You want to support Christian businesses? We got you. And then the big thing that I feel like I needed to cover is Bibles, and more Bibles. We run into a world where if you want a Bible, a lot of times you go to Walmart or Sam's or Target and you pick up a Bible, but are they a Catholic Bible? Are you reading the full word? Well, don't worry, I got you. We'll cover that at the very end. So how do we tell if a book is Catholic? Well, the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to open up your book. And in that section where they have all that copyright information, you're going to look for one of these three things. And I'm probably going to butcher how to say it. I don't do well with Latin. Why? Because I don't speak it. But an imprimis potest, a nihil obstat, or an imprimatur. These three things are really, really, let me move my face out of the way. These things right here are pretty important. These are three things that let you know that the book you are reading is a Catholic book, that it has nothing that varies from our faith. This is no way saying that you can't read another Christian book, or you can't read a book with this in there. There's processes that they have to go through to earn these. And I'll explain what they are in just a second. And so not every book or not every publisher will do it or can do it. And if you're looking for a devotional or something from any Christian, same Jesus. But there are differences between the Catholic faith and other various Protestant faiths. If you want to go to the extreme of some of the Protestant faiths, I mean, they dance with snakes. Some Baptists don't believe in any drinking of alcohol. Some, don't believe that Mary was a virgin. Some believe that Jesus had brothers and sisters. These get into dangerous waters, especially when you're just starting to explore your faith more deeply. Because there has been time when I was first learning my faith, when I first was becoming Catholic, that I just gobbled up anything that said Christian on it. And I got caught up in a series of books, incredibly well written. And the whole series of books were about the rapture. Well, that's not a Catholic faith thing. The Catholic Church doesn't necessarily believe in the rapture. So I read 14 books about Christianity that led me away from our beliefs. So these are big, important things. And you'll find that most of the books that I will throw out there to you will have at least one of them, if not two or all three. So the top one, Imprimis Potest, that says, may it be printed. And this refers to the official permission of a member of a religious order. So this is somebody of a religious order getting permission from members of their religious order. They have to, they have to get a religious superior to approve this. So not only is this going to be Catholic, but this is going to be Catholic tightened into, Benedictine, Franciscan, Dominican, Carmelite. I know that these are probably all foreign words to most of you, and that's okay. That's okay. But these are different denominations of our Catholic faith. These are people like, one that I know is the Franciscans are really big with working with the poor. They get their hands dirty with working with the poor. And there's, and they all have areas of Christianity or Catholicism that they put a lot of emphasis on. Benedictines, if I'm not mistaken, put in very, very hard days of work. They won't talk unless they're asked questions. And I could be wrong. I'm pulling this out of my head, so maybe I should. Okay. So nihil obstat. This stands for nothing stands in the way. This is a stamp of approval given by a official censor to a publication having faith. So essentially, with an imprimatur, let it be printed, a bishop will go through it and go, yep, everything in here is Catholic and aligns with our faith. Boom. But bishops are busy. Bishops are super busy. I mean, we see how busy our priests are and how they how they give their entire world to us, and how they don't have much downtime. And then you have a bishop, which is working with multiple churches. So he'll give it down to, he'll delegate to the censor's judgment that nothing in the work will stand in the way, and it'll be published. So an imprimatur is Latin for let it be printed. And this is approval of a religious publication by a bishop. And this can be by a bishop in your diocese, the diocese you're in, or wherever your publisher is located. I don't know the process that it takes to submit a book. I am not an author, but I have to imagine that this is a time costly endeavor, just based on how busy bishops are to sit down and really read over a book and make sure and give it their time. But these three things, any one of them, all three, any two of them, will lead you in a path where you will get good quality Catholic information. And like I said, that'll be right on the page with all the copyright stuff. I'm grabbing a book at random here. Let's hope it has one. And of course it doesn't. That's just the way it goes sometimes. But that's how you just flip to that. Granted, there's publishers that even if they don't go to get this, that you'll know that these publishers will give you good work. I would trust anything from Catholic Answers, Catholic.com. They are a very passionate business that really pushes hard for the Catholic information in a very traditional way. It's a great website to get information. So I know that if I'm going through Catholic Answers, even if they don't have that mark, I can feel safe. If I go to Christianity.com, I don't even know if that's a website, but I don't have that guarantee that it's going to be Catholic. If I go into the checkout or the book section at my local, Target, Walmart, I don't even know, wherever, Meijer, you don't know what you're grabbing and what you're getting into. And so that's where these will be great. And knowing your publishers, and like at the end, I'll info dump a bunch of good quality Catholic companies at you. And you'll know that if you get a book from these publishers, if you get a book from those publishers, you're going to get good quality Catholic information, irregardless of if it has these marks. But these marks are a great way to check yourself. So let's go back to week 1 where we did our basic prayers. Here are some great books that I used, and that if you want to dig further into week 1 was our basic prayer week. We have the Ave Maria book by Pope Francis, and Pope Francis, the Our Father book, Reflections on the Lord Prayer. Those two books on the outside are both books that are taken from conversations that the author had with Pope Francis, and it's an interview style book, and it's information taken from homilies that Pope Francis has given. Now, I didn't put the publisher underneath. And the reason I didn't put the publisher underneath is it's by Random House. It's Image by Random House. And Image by Random House is not necessarily a Catholic or Christian publishing company. And so by not putting that information, I'm not sending you to like Image or whatever it is .com and having you go, okay, all these books are safe. But How to Converse with God by St. Alphonsus Liguori. Now, this is either a really, really short book or a really, really long pamphlet. I think it's about 40, 50 pages. It's really, really short. And it's How to Converse with God by one of our great doctors of the churches. Now, this is through Tan Books, and Tan Books is a really trusted publisher. Tan Books does this thing where they offer $5 books. At the beginning of each month, they offer just a pile of great books for $5. Some of it has those marks, the imprimatur and other ones. Some don't. But Tan Books is a Catholic publisher pushing the Catholic lifestyle. And so they will do a good job of checking themselves. And so you can get How to Converse with God from Tan Books. I like to buy, that's where I got my copies, right from them. It was actually a $5 book. I think that's its normal price, but I usually buy about $30 worth of books every couple of months and get my free shipping. And hit that $5 bin hard. So all three of these books are quick and informative reads. They'll help you get a little closer to your prayer life. The Ave Maria book is in the How to Converse with God I've actually read. The Pope Francis Our Father book is on my wish list, in hopes that I will get it and read it soon. Granted, I'm about 300 books behind where I need to be to even start a new book, but irrelevant. But the Ave Maria book was a beautiful book. I really, really enjoyed, because they go through the prayer essentially line by line, and they talk about line by line. And they're not a complicated book. They're not convoluted with words that we still don't use day to day. They're not made overly complicated. Like some books, you read them and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's trying to prove to me that he's smart. I get it. These books are simple. They're approachable from everybody, and they're all good. They're all, I read the reviews for Our Father, but if Our Father is anything as good as Ave Maria, these three books are a slam dunk from week one. If you want to go to week one and really hit up and really pursue that. So now we go to week two, and remember, week two was a prayer space in your house and sacramentals. Now, there's not a huge plethora of books on sacramentals. I own Amazing Grace's The Blessing of Sacramentals. Yet again, I leave the information off the bottom because it's not from a Catholic publisher, it's from a Christian publisher. But you can find that at, a bunch of different places. If you're really interested in that, I'll leave you a link, probably just to Amazon for that one, unless you want to dig further and find the Christian publisher and at least help somebody that believes in our God and is spreading the information. Little Oratory, that's another really, really good book. It's essentially a room by room guide, a room by room guide on how to set up your house so your whole house encourages, you to live a more sacred life. That's done by Sophia Press, which is a really good Catholic, one of the smaller, but a good Catholic company. You can get lost on their website with all their good stuff that they have on there, all their good books and, prayer cards and all sorts of stuff they have over there. But the Little Oratory, I highly recommend it. Yet again, I haven't fully read it. I read a lot of excerpt reviews and got a great idea of it and used a lot of that stuff that I've read for the week two stuff. And realistically, it's good information. So let's go into week three. Week three was Saints as Heroes of Jesus. I know I tried to say it superhero and I sounded kind of whiny, and I apologize. But, I did two of these this week, so give me a little bit of slack if I mess up. And if I mess up, let me know in the comments. Just go, hey, you messed up, and maybe I'll delete it and re-record it so I don't sound like an idiot. So Saints, I can't even begin to cover how many books on saints there are. Oh my goodness. I cover a few, but realistically, if you've got a saint that you feel attached to, go to some of these trusted publisher websites and see if they have something. There are some wow books out there. St. Augustine, City of God and Confessions. City of God is just a masterpiece of theology. It's not an easy read. It's almost 1,000 pages long, depending on which copy. I've seen it range from like 800 up to 1,000, maybe under 1,000. I can't give you a publisher for this because everybody's got a copy. You could go on to Amazon and get a copy for like $1.99 for your Kindle. But almost every Catholic company will sell a variation of this book. And essentially what it comes down to is there's different translations. Who the translator is, the information will be the same. How long ago it was translated, if it was in the 1800s, it might be a little harder for us to read in the modern light, but Catholic Company has a few of them. And the other one is Confessions. That's his autobiography. I talked about that back in, week 3. Another beautiful, beautiful book that tells more of his life story. Learning from his sin and his just, I don't want to call it a horrible life because we've all sinned, and I'm not judging, this doctor of the church, but his life where he didn't have God, into his walk into morality and Catholicism, and Confessions is a wonderful read. Now, St. Francis of Assisi, there's so many books on him. In fact, if you were looking on a book of St. Francis of Assisi, the first place I would lead you was to Franciscan Press. That's done by the Franciscans. They are the people that continue St. Francis of Assisi's legacy. They love him over there. My son loves him too. If you want a book on St. Francis of Assisi, you're not going to go wrong by going through Franciscan Press. You can't. You're not going to go wrong. But Tan Books has also got some good books on him, and you're not going to go wrong there too. And the reason I threw two of them up is if you're on Tan Books because you heard me talk about that $5 books and you're missing that one book to get you that free shipping, you can go, oh, well, you know what? I'll read a little bit about St. Francis of Assisi. Why not? Some other good places to find information about the saints is Pints with Aquinas. Now, I showed you back in week 3 my giant collection of Aquinas, the giant Aquinas book that takes up a 5-book set. That's a lot of information. We're probably not all going to read it. I might not read it all. I'm going to try though. But the host of Pints with Aquinas is a guy named Matt Fradd, and he reads it for you and breaks it down so you can understand it in modern language for modern sins. And it's a, beautiful work on how to defend our faith. Pints with Aquinas, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful show. 90% kids safe. Read the title before you go into it. They don't sneak bad stuff in there, but they do talk about adult subjects based in sin, because as a doctor of our church, Thomas Aquinas talked about that stuff. And another one that has some really good shows on saints is the Catholic Talk Show. These are both podcasts. The Catholic Talk Show is a laid back talk show type, and they just pick a different topic every week. I find them informative, entertaining. They also, both of them have YouTube. So if you want to watch it on YouTube as opposed to listening through your phone or your computer, either way, you're supporting the show. But the Catholic Talk Show has hit many saints. They usually do a buzz show, like 5 saints that have done this or 4 saints. But you know what? If you're learning about saints and you listen to a talk show like that, and you go, wow, I'm really interested in reading more on, St. Benedict, or, ooh, I keep hearing St. Francis and they just told me he talked to a wolf. That's, I got to dig more into that. Or St. Carlo of Assisi. I know I'm using the same ones that I talked about in week 3, and I'm doing that on purpose. These are saint names that were commonly used around our house. St. Patrick. You know what? I'm Irish. Let's see what St. Patrick is about. They will cover some of that. So once you start finding these saints that you like through all these sources that are free, you can dig into books, you can dig into podcasts, you dig into YouTube. There's just a lot of good information out there. Another thing I want to talk about is for saints is if you're looking for devotionals, and these I'm going to have to turn off my light real quick because shiny book syndrome. But these 30-day books, 30 Days with St. Therese, these are little devotional books. The author of it is Thomas Cromwell, and I love these books. These were some of the first books I got to try to help us pray as a family, and they're little short reads, and they're broken down into sections, and they're all broken down the same way. It's a quote or a writing from the saint. With St. Paul, most of it comes straight from the Bible, but it's a quote or a writing of the saint. It's a corresponding Bible quote that ties what the saint said into the Bible. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch of just giving you the same information from 2 great sources. There's a meditation, so now that you've read these 2 things, what's a way that we can think about it into our own life? And the author helps break that down. And then there's a prayer. And I know this sounds like a lot, but it's 30 days and each one takes about 3 minutes. So over the course of a month, you're not looking at much time spent, but it's good quality time. I really, really enjoy those books. My kids enjoy them. The Irish saints and St. Therese are just so well done. I like St. Paul. That's a little bit of a harder read for me. Sorry, I'm sliding my notebook across a vinyl, chair, and so it's going to make a weird squeak sound, but I'll grab it back in my hand. So really great way to start daily prayer. There's so many books about saints. You can do devotionals, and I'm going to have a devotional book up later with Mother Teresa that I'll show you. That's a great read, and that's even a simpler read. You can read about their lives. You can read about their devotions. If you've really felt attached to the Divine Mercy, Sister Faustina has a diary out there. It breaks down day to day. And I found that there's a podcast out there that the guy reads you the diary on little 6-minute steps. I am trying to decide if I like that. My biggest complaint with that is he has to do his end of show little jargon. So in a 7-minute read, if you're wanting to just go through this book for an hour, every 6 to 7 minutes, he's interrupting it going, we'd like to thank you guys for being here. And it can be distracting. It can be, but it's free. And the guy is doing the hard work of bringing that to us. And he has a right to advertise his show, but it can be a little distracting for me. But that's a way that I can bring it, because I couldn't find an audiobook of that. And listening as a family, sometimes it's easier to throw an audiobook up on my Alexa device. And yet again, find a saint that you can relate to, and learn about them. And a lot of the time saints travel. I have this joke at my house that saints travel in packs. When you are talking with one saint, you found out that they've met and hung around another saint, or they've got taught by another saint, and the saints seem to be in groups. And so when you learn about one saint, you've now learned about 5, and you might find that you really are interested in this other saint that you didn't know you were going to hear about. So rambling. So moving on, week 4 is the sacraments. If you haven't gone to confession, shame on you. I'm just kidding, but not really. Where do you want to learn about the sacraments? Really, the best place ever is the Catechism of the Catholic Church and the Bible. You can't beat that information from those. I gave you tons and tons and tons and tons of links or Bible verses last week that you can really study the sacraments. Sorry, flew out. I didn't put a place for the Catechism of the Catholic Church because almost every Catholic store ever has one. You can buy a copy directly from the bishops at the USCCB, United States bishops. You can get it for free from their website. If you don't want to pay for a Bible and you don't want to pay for a catechism, they are free at the bishop's website. So type in US bishops in your search and you'll pull up their website. I also threw one of my favorite authors up. I've got a few favorite authors. Scott Hahn, great read, guys. I see him as a great intermediate author where you're hungry. He's great at taking things that might be complicated and really breaking them down for you in a way that is approachable for everyone. Matthew Kelly's there to throw some, a lot of people read Matthew Kelly, and he's good for the really easy basic stuff. He gives you if you're really just wanting to get the good news of being a Catholic and you don't want to dig in really deep, you just want to skim the surface and just hear good. Matthew Kelly, once you start buying books from him, he'll start sending you that stuff for free. I haven't read him in a long time, and I keep getting free books in the mail. And so I throw them in the back of my church and give them to people that get more enjoyment out of him than I do. And I don't want to badmouth him, but I'm just in a different place spiritually than Matthew Kelly books. But he gives you good information, and it's usually, very happy beginner information. And he's at dynamiccatholic.com. They're good books to read. But my favorite author is right here, Brant Pitre. And hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I've listened to him do talks, and, I've read multiple of his books, and he digs in deep. He's a little more advanced, and he ties the New Testament to the Old Testament through a lot of his books. So if you want to learn about the sacrament of the Eucharist and see where it comes from the Jewish roots, from the Old Testament, that's a great book. Phenomenal book. The Jewish Roots of Mary. He's got a book called The Case for Jesus. you're not going to go wrong with him. You know, but he's a little bit of a more advanced read, and him and Scott Hahn are both doctors of the church. So where else can we get a little more information about the sacraments? Well, EWTN TV. You might go, what is an EWTN TV? Well, EWTN is a Catholic TV network. And being a Catholic TV network, they do Catholic all day. I talked about them a little bit a couple of weeks ago with the Divine Mercy every day at 4. They do. But if you want to learn about sacraments, EWTN TV will be constantly, granted it's a TV station, so you can get on demand some of their stuff, but most of the stuff you just got to wait and watch it, like we did when we were kids, unless you're much, much younger than me, then don't talk to me about, not knowing how you had to run back and forth during a commercial for a TV show. You can get EWTN TV for free. It's free. It's 100% donation paid. So you don't have to pay. It's not behind a paywall. You can get it for your Roku device, your Amazon. It's in the Apple store. It's a wonderful place. And they talk a lot about sacraments. They have mass every day. They have adoration. They have a channel that's adoration, all day adoration. It's beautiful. So you don't even have to leave your home. Granted, go to adoration too. It's beautiful. But if you can't and you want to still get that adoration, you can do it on TV. Word of Fire, that's a bishop out of California, Bishop Robert Barron. At his website, a lot of his stuff is paywall stuff, but it's good, solid information. And he covers the sacraments. He's got a whole series on Mass. He's got a whole series on Catholicism. He's got a whole series on a bunch of saints. Pints with Aquinas, again, obviously, the Catholic talk show. And I'm going to introduce Catholic Sprouts here. Pints with Aquinas, Catholic talk show, and Catholic Sprouts will hit pretty much every single week. They'll go basic prayers. They'll go, saints. They'll cover, the catechism. You're in a safe bet listening to those podcasts. But Catholic Sprouts is more for kids. It's 6 minutes a day. It's while your kid is chewing on their cereal, getting ready for school. It's a short listen, and you can do it through, my kids listen to it on their Alexas. But she is an ex-teacher. She explains things so well. It's super short. So if their attention span isn't there, that's okay, because 6 minutes, it's done. They can play while they're listening to it. It's safe for them. And she covers a lot of topics. I have a lot of respect for the Catholic Sprouts podcast. It's how my kids have found the saints that they love, because she covers different saints. She covers tough topics in a way that I couldn't even begin to try as a parent. She did a series on COVID and how to explain COVID to kids. And if you've got kids, listen to it. And actually, even as an adult, I get a lot from listening to them. It's not deep information, but my gosh, it's impactful. And that's a podcast, and she's just a small little outfit where she's just running it out of her, she's doing the podcast in her closet, last I heard. And my gosh, guys, if you're not listening to Catholic Sprouts with your kids, do it. And I'm getting on my soapbox again. I apologize. All right. So week 5. Week 5 was talking about the Rosary and the Divine Mercy. If you remember back to week 5, there are tons of books on the stuff, but let's be honest. The best way to learn the Divine Mercy, the best way to learn your Rosary, is to just do it. So here's a bunch of places that you can do it with somebody. EWTN TV, we've been bringing that back again. They do it at various times of the day. Actually, even on the EWTN app that you can get on your phone, you can do the Rosary on demand. They do a call and response, like we were talking about, where one person says the beginning, the other person says the end. So you can see how that works. Now, they take a half hour to do it. The Divine Mercy is 20 minutes every day. The Rosary, they take a full half hour. There's other ways to do it if a half hour isn't necessarily your cup of tea. I use an app called the Rosario app. It's just got a picture of Mary that has both available, and it's at your pace. And what's really nice about that app is it will have the scripture reading. So every day you do it, it's giving you the Rosary for that day. You can have it read to you and they'll sing. You can customize it where you can choose if you want different prayers put in depending on how you want to say it. The Rosario app is really good. Another good one is the Hallow app. The Hallow app is really, really nice as well. It's in the free section where you can do the rosary. The negative to it is, yet again, it's led and it's read to you. So it's done at their pace. I've not done it on the Hallow app. I use the Rosario app for most of it. And my kids do the EWTN TV with the Divine Mercy on, when they remember at 3:00 that they're that they want to do it. YouTube has many great resources of people doing the rosary. They've got when the Pope leads the rosary, at the Fountain of Lourdes last year, or you can watch various churches do it. And actually, don't forget social media. The biggest thing that we don't talk about as Catholics is Catholic social media is really moving. It's a lot of young, energetic Catholics out there. And many, many priests and lay people, if you start following them on social media, your Instagram, your TikTok, I guess Snapchat and Facebook are kind of becoming a thing of the past, but Twitter, whatever you use. I don't use Snapchat, but I still use Facebook, but I'm old and I'm okay with that. But you start following these Catholic people and they will do rosaries live. And so you can sit there with another person and you can chat with the group in the chat if you want. You can interact if you want. Catholic social media is a great way to just get into a Catholic mindset all around. A lot of people will talk about social media being bad, but I'll tell you that through years of cultivation, when I like Catholic stuff and I ignore stuff that's bad or evil, my social media is becoming probably majority Catholic. People out there defending, there's some 20-year-olds between 18 and 25, and they're out there in the trenches defending our faith and just really putting their souls out there. And so Catholic social media to learn the rosary and the Divine Mercy is a thing. Father Simon does it every day. Occasionally you'll see Bishop Barron get on. There's just so many, and they do it at random times, and there's lay people that do them too. And so sometimes if you're just sitting there scrolling on your phone, flip, I love this. I'm just looking at stuff. Sometimes you'll see somebody doing a rosary, even if they're in the middle of it. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to join them till the end. And you may not get a full rosary done, but it got you to pray when you weren't expecting to or not planning to, because we all get stuck looking at our phones. So moving on. So week 6, more prayer. So I did a little simple thing here. I did a little easy, medium, and hard. Do Something Beautiful for God is it's a Matthew Kelly book. It's done through Dynamic Catholic. And this one is really kind of simple and beautiful. He just took words that, Saint Mother Teresa has said throughout her lifetime, and he gives you one sentence a day. It's made to take you a whole year to go through the book, reading one sentence a day. Sometimes it's a long sentence, maybe a little closer to a paragraph in length, but you're not going to spend more than a minute from opening this book to finishing your sentence or your small paragraph. I loved this book. It was really actually well done. So I guess I lied. I did have read Matthew Kelly. I forgot that this book was by him. Technically it's by Saint Mother Teresa and published by him. But it was really good. A lot of really inspirational, if you need a short blurb of great, this is a good book for a short blurb of great. In fact, it did not take me 365. We were doing it as a family, and my family wanted to switch over to something different. And I finished it in like less than a week. Just, I couldn't eat this information. I couldn't sink this information into my system fast enough. So then there's the daily meditations with the Holy Spirit. The daily meditations with the Holy Spirit, there's a whole bunch of these books. There's daily meditations with St. Joseph. There's daily meditations with Mary. They got a whole bunch of them. The publisher doesn't sell through their own website. So you can find that book at the EWTN Religious Catalog. That's just the EWTN store. If you go to EWTN.com, they have all their TV stuff. They have all their radio stuff. And then they have a little area called Religious Catalog, and that's a store that helps support them. Forgot to mention EWTN also has radio, but that's a good intermediate. And that's usually, that book is laid out, and that's the book that I'm in the middle, I'm near the end of right now. You know, it's a blurb from the Bible. It's some information about the Holy Spirit, and then it's a short prayer. This one takes you maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and that's pushing it. And I'm talking, that's from opening the book, reading, and closing the book. Now, the last one is the Liturgy of the Hours. This is a prayer that's multiple prayers throughout the day, and they take anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes each to do. If you're really wanting to go all in on your prayer life, this is a layman's guide. This is breaking you in slowly to the Liturgy of Hours and getting to understand what it's about. I read this book earlier this year, and I loved it. I try to do at least parts of the liturgy of every day. Now, if you want to dig into more prayer, EWTN, they'll drop novenas in the middle of shows. The TV, the app, the radio, the Hallow app, they have a free section. There's a paid section, but there's prayers there too. There's the Divine Office app. The Divine Office app is your Liturgy of Hours. You can read it, or you can hit play and they'll read it to you. And they do call and response type, or they'll do individual. iMissal, that's praying the Mass. It's a missal. And so that's praying the Mass. A missal is essentially you're reading the Mass from beginning to end, or reading just the readings, depending on. And they have book versions that you can buy at a Catholic store, or you can get the iMissal. I believe I paid like $4 or $5 for it. And I even use it when I go to church on Sundays with my daughter. I'll use that iMissal, or if I go to daily Mass, I'll use that iMissal so I can read along with it. Sometimes it's easier than picking up the book and putting the book down. It's just a personal preference. Laudate is just full of prayers. It's got just a bit of everything. And guys, those are just the apps I have on my phone. There's so many apps, but try to make sure that they are Catholic, so you're praying a Catholic way, or you're getting good information involving our faith. There's so many good apps out there. These are just the ones I've got on my phone. So let's go and let's talk about the Bible. We're getting close to being finished. I know I ran over today, and this is the last week, so I'll ask your forgiveness. But I figured, what better place to get good information than the Bible? Now, a lot of you have probably seen, the King James Version. That seems to be the version, and I don't want to say this in a crass way, but that's shoved down our throat. If you go to any store and you pick up a Bible, it's usually the King James Version. In fact, I have, knocked my microphone. I have a King James Version, because that's the Bible that's everywhere. It's everywhere. If you got $5 in your hands, you can get a King James Version. But the King James Version is not a Catholic Bible. So what makes that Catholic Bible different? Well, there's a few things. The King James Version has 66 books. It's a hefty read. But during the Protestant Reformation, they removed books from the Bible. And then maybe it's not fair to say they removed books from the Bible, but that's the terminology I'm going to use today. I'm not a scholar, and I'm not going to try to go into that because I didn't prepare. But the Catholic Bible, the Roman Catholic Bible, has 73 books. They call those the deuterocanonical books. And I might have butchered that, but canonical, apologize. It's, 8:40 at night. So I'm going to just chalk that up to being tired. But they don't have the book of Tobit, Judith, Wisdom, Sirach. And I'll tell you, Wisdom and Sirach, wonder if you haven't read those, you're missing out. Baruch and First and Second Maccabees. Now, First and Second Maccabees are amazing books too. And that's one of the places that we kind of get our idea for purgatory from, for it being Catholic. And so that's why when you're reading a King James Version Bible, you are like, oh, I just don't understand why the Catholics talk about purgatory. Well, the book isn't in there. We took it out. And they've also removed chapters of Esther and Daniel. Now, keep in mind that the Catholic Bible has been around essentially from the beginning. It's, the Bible is floating around, and a council approved it way back, in the early hundreds, I guess is how you'd call it. But the Catholic Bible has more. If you want to read more, there's a book through Catholic Answers that said the Bible is a Catholic book, is what I believe the name of it is. And of course, that's up in my bedroom right now, so I don't have it down here to show it to you. But I believe that's through Catholic Answers or Catholic.com. Now, something else that you will see when you look up a Catholic Bible is there's different translations. There's the RSV CE, that stands for Revised Standard Version Catholic Edition. And there's a first and second edition. There's a Douay-Rheims Bible, which a lot of the traditionalist Catholics, they feel their connection to the Douay-Rheims. And, I have not had my hands on it yet. I actually ordered one and it's on its way. So I'm curious. My first Bible that I bought was the ESV CE. That stands for English Standard Version Catholic Edition. And that's purchased through Augustine Institute, Augustine Press. And that just takes the Bible and translates it into more of a modern English. And for me, that was the first Bible that I read cover to cover. Last year, I read my first time reading it cover to cover. And that's the Bible I did. And I enjoyed it. I loved the ESV CE just because I needed a common English. And then there's the St. Joseph edition. The St. Joseph edition is probably by far the easiest edition to get a hold of. Now, if you're not knowing which Bible suits you, you can do some research and check them out. They all are the same book, just slight variances in language. Right now, I'm doing the Bible in a Year with Father Mike Schmitz. It's a podcast. Yet again, another podcast. He also is available on YouTube. And he is literally reading word for word from, beginning to end, the Bible. And he's reading the RSV CE second edition, Revised Standard Version, Catholic Edition, second edition. So if you want to hear word for word that exact Bible, the second edition, Father Mike Schmitz, Bible in a Year. And guys, that's an amazing, amazing podcast. I sit down every day, most every day. I'm playing a little bit of catch up now. And I actually open my Bible and read it as I play it. I hit the old play button. That's what this poke is, play button. And I listen to it and I read it. And he gives some, he reads the Bible for about 15 minutes, then gives you about 5 minutes of like homily light. We'll call it homily light. Just some information on what you just read and tying it to our day. It's not really a homily, but it's feeding you information. And that's still going on. That goes on until December 31st is the very last day. And then you've done the Bible in a year. Great thing about a podcast, you can click the sort button, flip up, sort oldest to newest, and you can start at the beginning and you can do it in whatever chunks you want. You don't have to do it in a year. You can do it in 2 years. Heck, you could do it in a week if you don't want to sleep. It's whatever you want. I think the Bible, if you read it front to back, is like 60, 70 hours. So if you really, really, really want to just not sleep and be exhausted, but finish the Bible in a week, that's you. Go for it. Tell me about it. And after you get some nap in, because I want to hear how on earth you did that. But, I own a St. Joseph edition. I own the ESV CE, the English Standard Version. I own the RSV CE. My wife, that's her first full Bible that she's owned. And so she has that and she loves it. Now, something that my wife told me specifically to announce to you, and of course, I don't have my Bible down here, but she wanted me to tell you there's Catholic Bible tabs. We got ours through Ascension Press. They're the ones that make they make a really nice version of the RSV CE, Revised Standard Version Catholic Edition. It's the one that the whole podcast is kind of pushing. They're pushing. Of course, it's an advertisement for their Bible, and it's a beautiful, high quality Bible, and you're not going to go wrong with it if that's the translation that you feel is for you. But we bought Bible tabs from them. And so if you're doing a Bible study or anything along that line, Bible tabs make it really easy to find what book you're needing to find. You can always go to the front and go, okay, I'm looking for Tobit. Tobit's on page, 874, and flip. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what we all do for years. But the Bible tab lets you just spin the book sideways and go Tobit, whoop, right there. And so what I recommend when you're picking a Bible is going to an actual physical Catholic store. And that's asking a lot because there's not necessarily many of them floating around. But if you can pick up and you can look at the Bible, and especially when you're talking about like a St. Joseph edition or a Douay-Rheims, there's more than one publisher. And so then there's soft cover versus leather versus imitation leather. Some will have ribbons that you can mark your page with, and some won't. And you can hold it because this is hopefully you buy it to read it. And if you're reading it, you want it to become personal to you. But a huge advantage with the St. Joseph edition is you go to a bookstore that has Catholic Bibles, there's probably 40 different St. Joseph editions. They've got the leather one, they've got the paperback one, the $10 one, the $100 one. And so you can really get in there. For me, I like my ESV, my English Standard Version. That's the one that now I'm willing to mark up. I've got highlighters and I'm like, mark it up and write a note. My RSV CE, since I'm still going through the Bible in the year, I'm just for reading, so that's just the way I do it. But you have people that their Bibles are falling apart because they've highlighted and they've got notes and they've got papers that they put in there with notes. There's note-taking Bibles. There's Bibles that have big gaps on the side. So if you want to write down something, you can. There's study Bibles that have information. St. Ignatius Press has a study Bible, New Testament only, if I'm not mistaken, that's got all sorts of information on the bottom. So if your kid asks you a question, hey, mom, hey, dad, hey, grandma, hey, grandpa, hey, godfather, hey, uncle, hey, aunt, whatever, that can help you understand things. Word of Fire is slowly releasing a giant Bible set, and they've just got the 4 Gospels, and they have tons of extra information in that Bible. Granted, I don't know what edition it is. Mine is upstairs, and my wife's is still unavailable for me to get at right now. So Bibles, you want to read more about the sacraments, your Bible. And there's, of course, if you want it free, the bishop's website has free Bibles. The EWTN has free Bibles. St. Paul Center, which is run by Scott Hahn, has free Bibles where you can read them online. And it never hurts, and I'm not making any promise for any parish, but there might be Bibles laying around that somebody can give you a free one. You never know. I'd rather ask and be told no, but go to a Catholic store and look at them and figure out which one you like better, which one feels better in your hand, which one uses the language. If you've got a piece of scripture that, you just read at church, or that that you feel attached to, go to that Bible, open it up to that piece and read it and see what the small differences are. Same Bible, same stories, just slightly different wording. Sorry, I know I'm going super long today, but that's okay. So now I'm just going to info dump books. Incorruptibles. Incorruptible saints are saints that died hundreds of years ago, some even thousands of years ago, and they have not deteriorated. They are still in perfect condition, pliable, movable. That book will walk you through many of those saints, tell you the saint's story, and tell you about their being uncorrupted on earth. It's not a page turner. That's not a super fast read, but it's so interesting. Now, literature by Joseph Pierce. And of course, Incorruptibles you can get through Tan Book. They constantly have that one in their $5 books if you're patient. I think it's like $14 if you're not patient and you want it right now. Joseph Pierce wrote Literature, What Every Catholic Should Know. This is done through the Augustine Institute and Ignatius Press, a little teamwork thing. This is part of a set of books. There's more than one. And of course, they're all upstairs in my bookshelf by my bed. But literature takes really, really big, really big and important books throughout history. Lord of the Rings, Dante's Inferno, and kind of ties that Catholic bow around there, because most of those are written by Catholics or for Catholics. And this is a really good way to kind of tie it. So if you're into classic literature, this book is amazing. I loved it. I loved this book. As a book nerd, this book led me wonderful. And now, if you're more into apologetics, if you want to be an apologist, which means I fight for our faith, I want to know, my grandmother's constantly saying Catholics are wrong. Well, A Daily Defense. Jimmy Akin works over at CatholicAnswersCatholic.com. And the guy his knowledge is amazing. I would put him up there, with like the Pints with Aquinas podcast. Jimmy Akin knows his stuff. And this is just another one a day, 1 to 2 pages a day on how to defend our faith. And this also will help reinforce your belief in our faith, because we all have had doubts at times. The devil creeping in, giving us bad information. That happens. So being a better apologist will also help you solidify your faith. It's the old win-win 1-2 punch. And you're not going to go wrong with anything by Jimmy Akin either. My goodness, he's an amazing, he's got podcasts, the Catholic Answer podcast, and he does paranormal Catholic stuff on his personal YouTube page. Really worth checking out. I'm not into the paranormal, but I know that a lot of people that really are into that. Jimmy Akin is your guy. So now let's go into the more part 2. I was almost called this more, but we'll call it more part 2. Now, what if I have a teenager and the teenager is struggling with the faith? I've heard this story from a few people. I've had mothers stop me. So my teenager's struggling, and I know I've gone way over today, but guys, it's last day. So I appreciate you sticking with me. So if you got a teenager that struggles, these are 2 really, really good books. I read them myself. I'm not a teenager, and they're good books. They really explain complicated things simply. What he has done is the author, Matthew Pinto, has gone to different schools and asked actual teenagers what they had questions about with the faith. And then he answers them. It's that simple. Almost 200 questions in each book. And he covers things like, did Adam and Eve have belly buttons? You'll have to buy the book to find out. I'm going to spoil this for you. Did Jesus have a last name? Yet again, read the book. I'm not going to spoil it for you. But he talks about, well, I'm Catholic and my friend is Lutheran, and I'm saying Lutheran or Methodist or whatever. Why are we different? Are Lutherans bad? He covers it, and then covers it in a really good way. These are both really, really, really good books. I'd say even as an adult, read them. Some of the stuff will be really stuff that you've already learned, maybe a little simplistic, but it's a question and answer format, so you can skip the questions you know the answer to, or you don't feel like reading, or you can use it as, well, my kid asked me this, maybe it's in one of these books. Quick reads. Most of the information is maybe a page or a half a page is the answer to the question, sometimes even shorter, sometimes a little bit longer, but both of these are really good. These are both through Ascension Press, which is also the people that are doing the Bible in the Year with Father Mike Schmitz. And they're also the one that have that Bible, the Revised Standard Editions, or RSVCE Catholic Edition, 2nd edition. And so a Revised Standard Edition, Catholic Edition. And Ascension Press is good Catholic stuff everywhere. It's all good Catholic stuff. And so these are 2 quick books that you can get from there, that if you've got a teenager, and read them yourself, so that way when your teenager throws that question at you, you're ready. So more books. Now we're going to go to the younger crowd. I'm giving you Loyola Press, Sophia Institute, Catholic Sprouts. Yet again, I'm not going to even begin to stop praising Catholic Sprouts. It's really helped bring my kids to faith and keep it there, even when I'm not there to reinforce it. She did a Stations of the Cross book last year. The art's fun and whimsical and very bright colored for kids. She's got what is it, Joshua tree. My gosh, my brain just shut off. For you guys to do during Advent. She's got crafts, CatholicSprouts.com. Now, another really good book is the Book of Catholic Signs and Symbols by Loyola Kids. Amy Welborn has done a great job breaking down what we see when we're at church, what the name of this is, what does this mean. And this is great, I would say, for kids, younger kids, or kids that are really observant. Well, what is that juice cup that Father's drinking out of? Or why is that woman wearing a little square on her chest? Or what is that P with the X thing, that P with an X up there mean? Or what is that INRI that I see on the cross? That book covers all of it. And it does it in a really simple way. And what we did is, we as a family, when about last year, maybe the year before, is we just went through one page subject every day. It's got a picture on the left, words on the right, cover that, next day, next one. And it took us months to get through, but it's a really well done book. Now, if you've got a kid that's really into exploring things on their own, Our Lady's Wardrobe. This book, the art in it is gorgeous. Our Lady's Wardrobe. There's another book in the set. This is probably my daughter's single favorite book. We picked it up at a little Irish Catholic bookstore in mid-Michigan. They're a nonprofit. Celtic Cove, if I'm not mistaken, is the name. The ladies there were wonderful to us. We spent a long time in there. And the lady actually pulled my daughter aside, and she's like, "I can feel that your faith is strong." And she handed my daughter this book. And it's Mary going into her closet and picking out an outfit for each of her apparitions, where she goes and she shows up. So Fatima, Guadalupe, and she picks out the outfit there. And then it tells a little bit about when she shows up. The artwork is beautiful. The writing is really, really well done. Boys and girls. I know that we see Mary and we talk outfits and clothes, but the artwork in this book is top notch. The writing is really good. It's a really simple book for your kid to be able to explore on their own. Can't say enough good things about any of these three books. And that's available through the Sophia Institute. Loyola Press makes the Catholic Signs and Symbols. I've bought a few more of the books by that author that kind of match that. They're not as picture heavy, and they're a little more word heavy. So for a younger kid, I would stick with Catholic Signs and Symbols out of the Loyola Kids series. If you got an older kid that's more into reading, then the other books are a little more chapter booky. Our Lady's Wardrobe, I'd say almost any age. I mean, even if you don't want to read it, just flipping through and looking at the pictures, they're just well done. And Catholic Sprouts, that book is a great book on how to pray the Stations of the Cross. If you look around every church we go to, there's the Stations of the Cross. This book can teach you a little bit about how to do them. And it's really well written, and it helps a tiny little podcast. So now, trusted Catholic stuff. And we're last two slides, guys. I know I'm at an hour now. Augustine Institute, Ave Maria Press. If you want to listen to the radio, Ave Maria Radio. Catholic.com is done by Catholic Answers. The Catholic Company is just a store with gifts and stuff. Catholic Productions, they do books and multimedia stuff on the Catholic side. Catholic Sprouts is a podcast. I've talked about them enough, so we'll move on. The Catholic Talk Show is another podcast. Really easy go talking, kind of the way I talk to you is what they do. There's a group of them, a priest and two other guys. You can't go wrong there. Cedarhouse.com is a really cool website. They support religious orders. There's a group of Benedictine nuns that make body care kits, meaning soap and facial scrubs and candles. I buy that stuff for my wife, and she really loves it. And a lot of the times they put holy water into it. So if my wife is in there, she's got a candle going that's got holy water in it. She's using a face scrub with holy water in it. It just, it's done with love, small batches, and you're supporting a religious community. Cedar House is really, really good at finding, they got Peanut Brother, which is, religious order monks, or I don't remember what group did it, but they make peanut butter, and you're going to pay a little bit more for it, but you're supporting Catholics doing Catholic things. EWTN Religious Catalog is probably the monster here. They've got pretty much a big list of anything. And you're going to pay a touch more at EWTN, but if you use their app, or if you watch their show, buying stuff from them at maybe 50 cents or $1 more than Amazon keeps them in business and keeps their TV show for free. Franciscan Press, one of my favorites. I'm constantly buying books from them. They've also got various other, home gifts. Ignatius Press, Loyola Press, books. Michigan Church Supply, they're our little local Catholic store. They are a Catholic store with some Protestant stuff. Their staff, the one in Mount Morris, I can speak, the staff over there is wonderful. They also will sell you stuff online. And that's good stuff. I've never had a bad interaction with them. And their prices a lot of time beats Amazon's, especially with statues and stuff. Relevant Radio out of Wisconsin, Father Rocky's business, really good radio. And they also sell stuff in their store. Sock Religious. This is a weird one, but I love it. They sell religious socks with saints on them. Every time I go read at church, every time I'm up there reading, I make sure to have my St. Joseph socks on. I know that sounds silly, but I feel like just having him on me or with me, I feel a little better about it. They have kids socks. I've got my son's favorite socks, believe it or not, no joke, is his St. Francis of Assisi socks. We bought them kids socks when they were on sale last year. Well, Santa Claus bought them. We didn't buy them. Santa Claus brought them. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Santa Claus brought them last year. I bought some for me at the Catholic store, but Santa Claus brought my son his, and he wore them so much that this is where I bought them. I had to buy him another set because he popped holes in them. Word on Fire. Word on Fire is multimedia run by Bishop Robert Barron. Bishop Barron is really, really good at throwing a lot of information at you. Word of Fire is great information, movies and stuff. A lot of it is behind a paywall. And so it's not free to get, but they have Bible studies, they have DVDs, they have an online subscription that you can get. And guys, this isn't just stuff that I use these are the ones I use on a daily basis. As silly as that sounds, there's so much more out there for Catholic information that you can get that I can't even begin to cover more. I mean, I feel like I probably put too much here. Now, everything that I showed here today, I will put a link to in the YouTube. So if you're wanting to buy it, and I'm going to not put links to Amazon, I'm going to put links to the individual smaller Catholic store. So that way we can try to support other Catholics. I'm not making money off of this. I'm not a big name YouTuber. I don't have any kind of a special connection to any of these people. So when you click on these links in here, as of the time of this recording, I'm not getting a dime, but we're supporting other Catholics out there. And so I feel like that's a better thing to do, because Amazon doesn't care if they get your money. But, Peanut Brother, you're helping feed somebody in a religious order, or, Catholic Sprouts, you're helping her feed her family. I believe right now she's pregnant again, another mouth to feed coming up. Every penny helps her and her message that helps our kids grow. And so giving to all these little companies, not giving, but purchasing and supporting these companies supports other Catholics. So guys, this is my final thoughts. We have been on this journey for 7 weeks. I know last week I was injured, so that way I didn't get it to you on time. I was a couple of days ago. Thank you. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for hearing what I've had to say. Thank you for the feedback. I really hope you guys got something out of this class. We were really struggling at our parish to try to excite people, to try to knock out, the lethargic feeling that you sometimes will get. And this is one of the things we brought to you. The other one being Walking with Purpose, which my wife went to. And if your parish is doing a Walking with Purpose, do it. If you're in the mid-Michigan area, St. Pius X in Flint is going to be doing another one in January. It's so wonderful. I've never seen or heard such good things about a Bible study before. And it's ladies only. Sorry, guys. I know I'm jealous too, but oh well. And what happens there is like Las Vegas. What happens there stays there. You know, my wife can tell me what she said, but she will never mention what other ladies say because they all promise each other. And so this is our last one. And I just, you know, I know I keep saying thank you, but really, you know, you guys praying for me. I've been praying for you. Hopefully you've got something from it. Yet again, if you have something you want to learn or want to know more about, throw something in the comments and we'll see what we can work out. I am not a scholar. I'm not, you know, extraordinarily well-versed in everything that is Catholic, but I can figure it out for you guys. Yet again, I don't make a dime out of this, but if you feel like, hey, this was a great program and I want to support, throw some money to St. Pius X through their website. You know, I throw them a couple of bucks, you know, and say thank you. Because without St. Pius X and the support that parish has given me, Father Anthony Strauss, you know, all the staff, you know, Michelle and Janet, and I mean, just everybody. I mean, I can't even remember all the names because it is 9 o'clock at night when I'm recording this and I'm tired, but holy cow, we've had support over there. And that's the main reason I am able to do this with you. And so guys, you know, we'll say our final prayer and we'll get off of here. And I wish you best of luck in your family's prayer life. And hopefully you're utilizing some of this information. And if not, it's never too late to start. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Thank you, Lord, for this journey of 7 weeks. We've covered a lot of ground with a lot of people and a lot of family. And the fact that you've brought us together must mean something greater than what we know. But hopefully we can create little saints out of our children, saints out of all the adults that have listened. And hopefully we've brought people closer to you. Through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Now you get to look at me awkwardly turn this off. You guys have a good night, good weekend, and thank you.